One day, on his way back to Kansas, Herk Harvey was driving past Salt Lake City when he came across this eerie-looking abandoned pavilion. Right there and then, an idea was formed, and he decided the pavilion would be the perfect location choice to make his first horror film, Carnival of Souls. Carnival of Souls is an extremely low-budget film. In fact, Herk Harvey had to play one of the characters himself to save money. But with its limited resources, Herk Harvey was able to pull off a hypnotic, psychedelic, low-budget horror and deliver on his creativity with the help of his unique flair to create a film that is honestly ahead of its time. Although the film feels unrefined and imperfect due to its low-cost production, Carnival of Souls still manages to solidify itself as a cult classic and impact cinema as we know it today. Even legends like David Lynch listed this film as one of his biggest influences, and there's no doubt that this film has left its mark on cinema. Sadly though, this will be Herk Harvey's only feature film. The film opens with our protagonist Mary, who is in a car with friends in an attempt to race somebody, but as they approach a bridge, the car skirts off to the side and lands into a river. The only survivor from the incident is Mary. After this traumatic event, Mary strives to rebuild her life by applying for an organist in a church. However, soon, she finds herself mysteriously haunted by this terrifying figure, played by Herk Harvey himself, while also unexplainably drawn to this abandoned carnival. Who is this person, and why is she sucked and drawn to the pavilion? I'm not going to say any more, as that is for you to find out. The film allows for different interpretations as well, but I'll also allow you to come up with one on your own. What really stood out to me within the first 2 minutes was how disorienting the film was. Yet within its obfuscated structure, there's something quite alluring in the film. In fact, I'll even say hypnotic. The first 2 minutes set the stage and tone for the film as you watch the accident occur. The editing leading up to the accident is so dizzying and abrupt that it would usually throw viewers off. Yet for me, it did the opposite. I was intrigued and wanted more. It was uncomfortable and uneasy to watch. I'm not sure if that was what Herk Harvey was going for, but if he wasn't, well, it ironically worked, as the roughness of it helped add to the discomforting feeling. The grainy footage also adds a layer of dreaminess to the whole film, as if you're stuck in a terrifying lucid nightmare. And that's basically the film, a surreal, terrifying nightmare that you can't seem to wake up from. Herk Harvey was able to achieve this phantom-like nightmare due to its unique camera angles and abrupt editing. As I said, the film was way ahead of its time. From the very beginning, you know this is not going to be your typical film, as you watch the credits placed in obscure angles, in a very disorganized way that gives a sense of vertigo, an introduction that allows viewers a hint of what's to come. The camera angles are unique and help create a sense of dread. We get quick, shaky camera zooms, moving overhead shots, and characters looking straight into the camera as if noticing you. All these help add to the nightmarish psychedelic trip. The abrupt editing gives off the same energy. It'll cut from one scene to a completely different scenario that doesn't seem to have a sense of fluidity, yet the disorienting feeling lures you deeper into the film like a dream that doesn't make sense. Maurice Praffer's cinematography is exceptional, as his experimental style uses different shades of light and shadow to capture this phantom-like dream. Every shot, every scene is sharp and vivid. You feel every dimension as the contrast between the darker and lighter areas is able to pop out at you. The beautiful, crisp cinematography was able to capture all the facial features, the eyes, the mouth, and the horror. It feels very grounded and contained, and that's what makes its horror stand out. Carnival of Souls also manages to capture what it is like to feel alone and empty. We watch as our main character Mary try to readjust herself in life after a traumatic incident, but is never quite able to fit in. There are moments in the film when Mary realizes that she's disconnected from the world, and she can't seem to interact with the world around her. We see the world around her pulsate with light as she roams the street and tries to get people's attention, yet the background noise is never heard. All we hear is an eerie score slowly rising to crescendo. It gives off an uncanny vibe, yet alluring at the same time. Although I had quite a bit of fun with this film is no way perfect. For example, the acting. Mary, played by Candace Hilligoss, came off as wooden throughout the film. Her acting felt forced and lacked the grace it needed. The side characters also didn't seem to add much to the film, and seemed to be placed there to elongate the runtime. In the film, when Mary moves into a flat, we meet this horny neighbor who is a peeping Tom. He gives off an uneasy vibe as we watch his mood fluctuate, fine when he's sober but mean when he's drunk. Although he's entertaining, his character does not contribute anything to the film. If you were to cut out his scenes, the story would still flow. The same goes for the other characters like the minister. These characters could have been better utilized or help add to the character's journey. However, my biggest disappointment is the wasted location choice. The title of the film is Carnival of Souls, so one would expect the film to revolve or at least in some form of way take place inside of a carnival. The film is an hour and 20 minutes long, and I think it only spent 10 minutes inside the abandoned carnival, and half of it was shot in daylight. I found that to be a complete waste, as not gonna lie, it was the idea of the carnival that made me give this film a watch in the first place. Most of the film is shot outside in broad daylight, in the streets, in a shopping mall, inside a doctor's office, or with the creepy peeping Tom. I think this is probably my biggest disappointment, as honestly, there were some cool creepy shots of the carnival as you watch a place once filled with happiness, joy, laughter, and full of light, now slowly crumbling apart and compiled with trash. So that to me is a huge huge disappointment. Overall, Carnival of Souls is a decent little watch that stands out from its contemporaries back then due to its obscure camera angles, disorienting edit, terrific cinematography, and a haunting score that were able to deliver and bring out a hypnotic psychedelic nightmare. I just wish it had better acting, utilized its side characters better, as well as its location, as honestly it is a perfect choice for a horror film. Although nowhere near great, I still recommend you to give this film a go if you're able to find a copy of it, as there's a lot to like about it. Have you seen Carnival of Souls? Do you plan to see it? If you did, what did you think of it? Comment below and let me know, and as always, subscribe for your next travel ticket.